click on the more button.
There she is.
Okay, welcome to the Greensboro WordPress meetup. Laura, Beth, and I are three of the organizers, and we're working very hard to bring this meetup back. We used to meet in person. That is a goal for the future. And we will, when we start getting enough folks that are local who want to meet up, we will do that. But for now, Zoom is our friend. And tonight we have a pretty good one, and I'm biased, but I'll explain that in a minute. The basic rules of the meetup are WordPress rules. Everybody's nice and friendly. Nobody makes anybody feel bad. We don't say ugly things. And Laura is in charge of kicking people out who cannot seem to obey those rules. They're simple. Just be nice. If you have a question, you can put it in the chat, or you can hang on to it until Lauren's presentation is done, and then you can feel free to join in the conversation. When we were asked for this topic, in fact, the gentleman who'll be presenting next month is the person, he just couldn't be here tonight. He's waiting for the recording. He suggested this topic, and I happen to know somebody. Our topic is unlocking SEO, but he said, what's the difference between on-page and technical SEO? So I went to my SEO expert, who I have known 9 months longer than she's been alive, and said, you're the SEO expert. Can you do this? And she went, yep, I can do that. So Lauren is a digital marketer. She specializes in SEO strategies for business of small, medium, big, and international sizes. She drives impactful change through omni-channel marketing tactics, which is a term I'd like her to explain. And she's been studying SEO strategies and working in the field since before 2010. She's got success on multiple websites, measurable success, and she's up to date on all the latest trends. And I can tell you that when we build websites, I hand Lauren the keys and say, my own way, go get me all the SEO you can. And for all the years I ran my business, I got calls from all over the country, and it's because they found us on Google. And that has to have to do with my SEO. So I can recommend her. So Lauren, you're on.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. This wouldn't be, I think, a Polinsky related meetup if I didn't go ahead and start with Strife. That omni-channel. I thought my mother, who was a teacher, would know the word omni-channel, but omni meaning all channel and channel meaning channel. Anyway, I do marketing strategies when it comes to SEO. It's really on-page stuff, but it's the way you connect the information about your business and your products and your services to all of your marketing channels. So if you name your business something, and maybe, you know, you've got the slang name and you've got the corporate doing business as name, and they're not exactly the same, well, you want to make sure everybody's doing the same thing. And omni-channel marketing is making sure you get all of that information out together uniformly. But not really what we're here. Although this is the root and fundamentals of what I do, I'm here to talk about some SEO stuff. It's really a fun topic because it's two different things, but yet they're so overlapping that I get how it can be a kind of question and concern. And especially, I think I heard someone say they're just getting started in this. And so, I mean, I've been doing, like my mom said, I've been doing this for almost 20 years. And these are still the fundamental things that I do every single time I have 5 minutes, or I'm planning a new team, or I'm working on a new project. So I hope they're helpful for you all. And if you wait till the very end, there is a link to slides if you want to grab these slides later. And if you don't, you don't have to. So SEO, what is it? It's the art and science of of connecting all the things, of informing search engines and people why your product or your service is the right solution for them, right? It's not about selling your product as much as it is about connecting with what people are looking for. So I really like to do that by kind of a lot of keyword research, but kind of working backwards with an audience and to understand, you know, like, well, what is the purpose of this product or service? And what are the questions that people have when they get to wanting this product or service? That's where like the art of SEO comes in. But the science of it is literally very fundamental and best practices of really fun to work with developers, really fun to work with WordPress developers, because I love doing all these yes or no questions, you know, the tree of yes or no's, and you get to one and you're like, well, let's talk about it. You know, they pick no, you pick yes, but we'll talk about those too. So there's some overlap, right? There is the on-page stuff in red. There is the technical stuff in blue. There's the overlap in the middle that is influenced by on-page work, but is very much also technical influence. So I'm kind of working from the left. Keyword research, content linking, external linking, freshness, and user engagement. Those are really going to be about the content of your page, the design, layout, friendliness of your page. The keyword research is fundamentally what you do to make sure that your products and services show up to people, right? So if you don't do that, you can have millions and millions of impressions, but if you're showing up for the wrong thing, it's useless, right? You're not going to get any of that engagement and all those other things. So making sure you're finding people who are looking for you in the first place, so that you can build all of your content, your external linkable content, your find related external people, that's all content. On the very right-hand side, page speed, log files, core web vitals, that's what CWV stands for, HTTPS, which is just security. Those definitely are all very technical, and it doesn't really matter what your keywords are, what your content research is. So it's not really any of that SEO on page stuff. But in the middle there, you get a lot of both, right? Like images. If I don't use keywords in the right spots and compress and optimize my image, I'm going to have a bad time. If I don't use the right keywords in my header tags and meta tags, and I don't keep them the right length and fill them in the first place, I'm going to have a bad time. So all of these things in the middle is what I'm pretty much going to break down and talk about, because I think there's always time to do content research. To me, is the fun stuff. There's always time and need to set and work on strict technical. But in this middle spot, I think there's a lot of opportunity to help prioritize and cut back and really try to find some time-saving tricks that I like to use. And if I have time, will happily show you kind of the inside of a WordPress site I'm working on right now. So the on-page stuff. Oh, can you guys read that? Oh no. There's all these little Zoom things. Okay. So on-page SEO is pretty much fundamentally keyword research, internal linking, external linking, images, and meta tags, header tags. From top to bottom, keyword research. This is the hardest thing to be time saver with. It depends on a lot of how many sites you're running, how much do you want to optimize for that site. Your keyword research can be 5 minutes. It could be 5 days. It's just so nuanced and very dependable. But I love to understand when I don't have the time to go through everything, I'd like to understand specifically, like, what's the most profitable? What's the most popular? Where do I have the most opportunity? You got to start somewhere. You know, you can't optimize every single thing at once. I picked up a new client very recently in the bourbon space, which is the thing I like. And this person has 50, 60, 70 different brands that they sell. And they're like, well, do our keyword research, optimize our website. And I'm like, holy moly, I can't just go through 50 different brands and find everything about Buffalo Trace and everything about Old Fitzgerald and the difference between Pappy Van Winkle and Old Pappy Van, you know, like there's just so many small things, it would take forever. So prioritizing based on, I went and said, give me your analytics, here's your conversions, let's go after, excuse me, these particular 5, because I think we have a lot of opportunity. So being able to chunk and break things down really helps on keyword research. Internal linking, I love just kind of sticking myself to this phrase match sort of opportunity. I've done the keyword research. I've created a page for it. Now I'm going to find phrase match versions of that throughout my site. One of the tools I really love is called Screaming Frog, and it will crawl my site, look for that phrase match if I want to type it in, or if I want to use like regex to make it happen. I can then say, find me every variant of this phrase on any single page of my website. And then I can go start backlinking through there. So I can build internal links. The reason why you want the keyword there, because the keyword is the association, the relevance that Google puts to it. It says contextually, I get it. You're a page about plumbing, and this is a page about toilets. Toilets are plumbing. You've linked from plumbing to toilets. This makes sense on a word called toilets. Great. I'm going to see toilets on my next page. The technical aspect of it is mostly that you do it. So the more links that point to that toilets page in that example, the more opportunity that more authority that toilet page is going to build. So I like to think of the links are like votes. If you're going to drive a link to that page, you're voting for the value of that page. It's a really solid thing to do. Every single page on your website should have an in-text link to another page. I'm not talking about navigation, footers, headers. I'm saying in the body of your page, you need to have at least one link to another page that's related to what you're talking about. External linking, again, this is content research, right? You've done it in your keyword research. This is where you're developing that content people want to link to. I could talk to you endlessly about external link building and strategies for it, but we don't have time today. I just will say that it is heavily on page because it's creating the content for your website in such a useful way that other people will want to link to it. If I create you the fall guide checklist from your trusted plumber home services company, that's a linkable thing. I can get people to link to it. But if I just wrote up there, you should do some home maintenance here, click, 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 that's not linkable. So making that link-worthy content is absolutely on page. Images I talked about before, again, file names and compression, they kind of overlap, but you definitely need to have those file names. Alt attributes are huge. Not just for accessibility, which is a huge reason to do it, just describe the picture itself, but also for showing up in organic search for images. Google can read not only the alt attribute, the file name, but any text within an image. So a lot of good stuff there, making sure your images are optimized. And then meta and headers, really important on this one. Your title tag and your H1 are the most important pieces of content you can put on your page. Your keyword, that phrase match keyword from the very top of this list, should be the first thing you mention in that title tag, and absolutely should be an exact match in your heading tag. Those are the two very critical places Google looks for to make sure that everything, when it thinks, what is this page about? Those are the three pieces it's looking for: the main body text, the meta title, and the H1, that first one on your page. On the technical side, load times, schemas, pagination, canonicals, and core web vitals. Bunch of scary, scary words, but they're really not. One, because load times is not my bag. As an SEO, I don't really deal with fixing the things, but I can find the things to fix. So I love working with developers and going after compression, using plugins, using lazy loading, click buttons, removing all of those fun animations from pages, anything that slows down the page. For every second, I think you lose like 30% of conversions. So it's a really huge thing. Schema markups, again, love this one, not so hard anymore. There's a tool called Rank Math, a plugin called Rank Math. I freaking love Rank Math. They have so many schemas, even within the free option. You can even scrape other people's schemas and pull them in your own and then edit them yourself. It's amazing. I love it. I do it all the time. Pagination and canonicals and redirects. This is all about indexed content. You want one piece of content. I know that sounds pretty, backwards in terms of I want all of the pages. Is an SEO about creating all the pages? No, it's about creating the right pages. So if you're going to have one page about toilet repair, but you really want to make different pages variations of it so that you can have toilet repair for South Austin, or I'm sorry, Winston-Salem, toilet repair for Greensboro, toilet repair for High Point. That way you can use things like canonicals and redirects and indexation to keep all those variants out and build value no matter what happens on those other pages to your main, plumbing service for your toilet page. And then core web vitals is the last one. Again, a bit on the harder and definitely more technical side, working with developers. If you understand development, like compressions and code and usage and the way the template and blocks build, I'm lucky in that Cadence is a really solid tool. It doesn't add a lot of extra stuff, so you don't get a lot of extra problems. But the core web vitals is essentially how Google reports back to us how valuable or how engaging your site can be for people. So again, that one's a real technical one. The trick I have is just run those automated scans. And if something is out of variant, like you're used to seeing a 2-second something and then all of a sudden it's 3 seconds, check it out. That's what I have to say about that. Go talk to people.
Lauren, I'm going to stop you just for a second. Don't move from this slide. Can you very briefly explain what schema is in terms of building a web page?
Yes, and I was going to break out and show you actually what schemas are.
Okay, then let's not take time for that now because there are a couple of questions.
Okay. Do you want me to stay here while we do that?
Stay right there. can you tell, Beth asked, what's your go-to keyword research tool?
SEMrush. SEMrush, from a person who runs 1 or 2 businesses to a person who runs 7 or 8 or 9, 10 businesses. I love SEMrush. SEMrush does all of my keyword research. It does my internal linking. It does some of my site audit monitoring. It does a lot more, but I don't pay it to do those lot more things. Those are basically, those features are what you get in the basic business account for SEMrush.
Okay, and then you said how much authority your page will have. What is
Yes.
authority?
Great question. Authority is a made up thing. Authority is used to be known as called page rank. That was a word people made up like 20 years ago. Page rank then became like page authority and domain authority. And quite typically, this is a made up metric that every single SEO tool will have some version of. And all it's trying to say is trustworthy and reliable, and it shows positive, healthy signals. It doesn't have spam in the code. It isn't being linked to by gambling sites. It's not linking to gambling sites. You know, it's just authority. On top of that,
Okay, I know you've got a lot more, so I'm kind of moving ahead. Last question before you move ahead. Do you have a favorite image compression tool?
Sue, what did we install on that, on my bird dog site? I like it. It's fine. Whatever it is. I don't is the answer. But Sue, do you want to put one
So
on
it's the one
there?
I put on your site?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's EWW or EW. But do
Okay.
you Photoshop files and then put them online?
No, I try not to. I
thought you
hate
did
it.
that.
I hate it. The best thing I will do probably is convert something from like an Apple iPhone file type to the PNG file type. And if it's compressing in Photoshop during that time, I'll do it. I'm still looking for like a cheaper app that will just do that for me. So Windows doesn't seem to have one that's I'm worth paying for. So I'm still working on that. But yeah, I don't. And I don't really have an image compression tool. I leave a lot of like code level, load time level stuff up to my developers. I like to go for the things that really matter, which is rank math, which is definitely something I want to show everybody here for a second.
Okay, I am Lauren's developer, so I put a
Yes.
plugin on her site and I just put that plugin in. And the thing about that one is it not only compresses the image, but it also serves it as a WebP file, which is a much smaller file and helps with page load. You're
Yeah.
on, Lauren, go ahead.
Okay, so we're just going to switch over to a WordPress site I'm working on. And you're going to see rank math over here in our corner on our side. And you can see the other tools we've got running. I have a developer on this site, and she's put everything here that she chose. I'm happy to ask her questions if you want to ask questions, but I don't know much beyond like this section in here. But the dashboard of rank math, again, we chose rank math. I chose rank math for a couple of reasons. One, from a code level, from the actual amount of code it puts on your site, it's the lowest amount of code out of almost all the plugins I found that have equal value. So Yoast and AIO, it's much smaller file size.
Excuse me,
Two,
AIO is
advanced
AIO.
AIO is the name of it, yeah. All in one, that's what it is. All in one SEO.
Okay.
Yeah. And then there's Yext or Yoast, I'm sorry, that's the other one. Big popular ones. I think rank math has come up in the last year as well. But the second real big reason I got into it was schemas. So unlike Yoast, which charges you for extra schemas, unlike some other ones that only give you like 1 or 2, rank math gives you all of these schemas right here. And so a schema is literally code that explains your product, your article, your data set, your FAQ. It explains the text on the page in a language that Google understands. So when you search like, what is black stuff around my toilet? Because let's face it, everybody goes to the internet. Oh, that shit worked. That's a bummer. I used to have this one. Bummer and a half. Okay, never works when you're on a thing. But this is called a rich snippet right here. This is an FAQ. These are all FAQs. If you want to show up in these answers, you need to have schemas. Schemas are what you use based on what you have. I can't sit here and tell you what you should have because I don't know what you run and what your things are. But I can tell you, if you're a restaurant, you absolutely need a restaurant schema because this will have where's your menu, how much do you cost, what's your phone number, what's your address, where do you reserve, all of that stuff will be in there. If you sell things, your products, what's the size? How much is quantity? Is it on sale? What's your coupon? All of that will be there. All of these great things. WordPress team, you got an event, all of the schema for you. And it's super, super easy to use. Let's pick an easy one. Let's do restaurants. So you come in here, you can rename it, whatever you'd like it to be. So you can be like Lauren's Restaurant. Oops. Maybe I run a whole bunch. So I'll have a headline, which is typically the name of your restaurant. A short code, if you're a developer, the short code is simply there for you to drop this whole schema wherever you want it. So if you want to custom place it in certain pages. My phone number, my price ranges, all of these informations, my latitude. Again, it's not stuff you might know right off the top of your head. So that's why SEOs sit here and I'll look up my geo coordinates because I don't know them off the top of my head. And then I can start adding all my unique cuisines. So I can say like, I am a Greek restaurant, I'm a pizza restaurant, all of that stuff. I can put the menu there. If I want to get feeling clever and technical, I can start to make this my own. I can expand it and write it very, very unique. It will let me validate in here. It'll give me all my code. It'll let me place it immediately across the site. Let's say I run branches and I've got like my Lauren's restaurants that are on the East Coast and I've got Sue's restaurants that are on the West Coast. I can start to like do all of this, placing it only where I want it to be seen. It's amazing. And if I want to start writing my own code and you want to start writing your own code, you're looking for schema.org is the website. If you know anything about coding, this should make a ton of sense to you. It's not very hard. You're looking for JSON. That's all you're doing, right? So here we are back, local business restaurant. So again, I can custom in here, start adding and editing all of this, but you see how many potential things I could be telling Google about my restaurant. This is just for a restaurant. You could be doing all of this. And if you send all of this information, it just gives Google that much more opportunity to show you in all of its different places because they're changing all the time. And if you're looking to cheat, they're always down here at the bottom. So you can click at the bottom and start copying and pasting and editing however you want because you don't have to figure it out
Lauren,
yourself.
have you ever heard of Slim SEO?
No. Sounds good though.
Eric asked that question. Eric is an expert in WordPress, and he's going to be our guest speaker next in 2 times. But Eric, you want to talk about Slim SEO? Or just let it go?
Well, it was just a quick question because I like everybody else. I've been hit by the bloat with the AI in rank math, and all the fun and exciting pieces of Yoast and all in one over the years. And I've been switching over to Slim SEO because of the pricing and the weight. The plugin is much smaller than anything else. And out of the box, free version does have basic schema, and then for an LTD for less than $200 for unlimited sites, all the custom schema.
Lauren, are you running into any page load speed with rank math?
Well, we've been able to get our pages from like 3 seconds down to 1.8. The team is still working on getting those even faster, but if they get to a halt and we need something else, I would look into this for sure. I think you mentioned stuff about like the bloat and the AI-ness. Everything's got AI these days. It's ridiculous. The AI in here sucks. I don't like it at all, to be honest. I think it's the #1 feature of rank math that's pretty terrible, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay.
That's sad.
Okay.
Didn't mean to end it on such a sad note.
Okay, Lauren.
I would like to make this one comment for people
Sure.
who are watching this later. That what is all, and my doorbell's ringing, so I'll do this really fast. What is always the way is that these plugin decisions are kind of like religion. Everybody thinks that their way is the only way to heaven and everybody else is misguided. So the best thing to do is to figure out what your requirements are and then go shopping for the one that meets your requirements and not just jump because an expert says that. And the reason I say that is because I have done that a million times. Switched a plugin because Lauren said it was a better plugin, right? And then you just or someone. I just used Lauren
Okay,
as an
okay, it wasn't
example.
me then. That caused
No,
you
it wasn't
problems.
really you. I just used you as an example. And then you regret that later because you use
Yeah.
it to use up a whole bunch of your time and that sort of
And
thing. So
it's so connected into things that you don't even tend to know about. So unless there's a good need to move, like I have significant page bloat, I'd hate to lose all these schemas. I've got all these redirects set up. I'd have to do all this exporting and re-importing. So yes, awesome point, Beth. Definitely don't just do it because I sat here and told you to do it.
Okay, Lauren,
please continue.
please
Ah,
continue.
I think we're pretty much there. I think I had like a 20-minute window. Some more rank math stuff I can show you. Again, we've got the redirects. That's an easy one. I love that you can like add a whole bunch of redirects to one page. So let's say I've got 5 different things I want to sunset real fast. I can make it all go to the same page. I can quickly sort and filter. Redirects are amazing. If people end up on your site on a 404 page, a page that doesn't exist by accident, or whether you deleted it or whatever, redirect it to the most relevant next page so that their situation, their experience doesn't end there. Having someone hit your site, go, crap, and then back out of it is a really hard SEO ding. Anytime someone comes to your site, bounces, which is literally like an immediate exit, that's a bad ding. That's exactly why at the very beginning, I was like, make sure every page has a relevant link to another page, simply because you want to make sure that happens. I do think it's really nice. Sorry.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I do think it's really nice. Again, rank math gives you a lot of the stuff included. So like, I know Yoast does, you can do manual redirects, but I think rank math lets you just go ahead and do all the kind of redirects. Your 404 monitoring, all that stuff is in here. And that's a lot of like the technical where it overlays with content. The number one thing it just doesn't really seem to do, I think rank math does not seem to do well, is any content creation. That I still use SEMrush for all the time.
Okay, so when Lauren most recently went through a site where she's doing the SEO, but I built it, Lauren had a few things to say about a page about H tags, H1s, H2, H3s, and the way I used them. So I had to make some changes. Can you talk briefly about on-page SEO and how to use H tags?
Yes, good question. Great conversation. So H tags are most commonly used to break up a page. Let's look at a blog. Blogs are really easy, right? Great. I hope everybody wants to know about the cost to replace your sewer line, because that's what I was writing about. So H tags are a way to break up your page, right? In this case, you can quickly see based on my H tags how everything goes bright blue, big blue. So whenever I now use in my blog an H2, it's going to look exactly like this. Every time I use an H1, it's going to look exactly like this. So that's okay in a blog. It's really not the end of our world. But if we want to look at maybe like an actual page where I have things going on. So here we go. That's my H1 on the page. That's an H2 on the page. That's also an H2. That's an H3. I'm able to use H tags to tell Google the importance of something. How H1 is the most important thing. Think of it like your newspaper. When you open it up, it's the main title. The byline, that's your H2. The secondary lines, the subtitles, those are your H2s and H3s. And as you go down the page, it's less important, but you get an article outline, just like you saw in the blog post. But here I'm talking about, ability to organize all of that down the page, but now within components, right? That's a component. I have an H2 and an H3. This way I can tell Google I'm local plumbers and I'm a reliable plumbing company. These are search terms, by the way. These are what the keywords are that people look for. But when I come down here, I can again do the same thing, same little component, and again, the same thing. So I can keep making different sections have ordered by putting my H tags where I want them. And because my developer is using CSS on this side of the site to style them however we want, I can have H2s that are white, or I can have H2s that are blue. I can have H4s that are white. I can have, all sorts of stuff in here because she's doing separately. And again, the H tag, the status of an H tag is weight of importance. So you want to communicate that to Google. The style of the tag is absolutely separate. The style is whatever you want it to be for your page, whatever you want your H1 and whatever to look like. Even if I go show you my own SEO website, you'll see it. That's
Spell it right.
Name right. Oof, this is a bad one. So there you go. my H1 is this yellow text, my H2 is here, but I'm not using it. So my H2 can also be black. It can be bright white, it can be bright black. It's great. This way you can organize your site, you can organize your information, and I can get all of that across to the engine and style it separately so people can read it. Did that answer that? I feel like I got
Yes,
tangent.
that was good.
These are pretty
Okay,
good.
are you willing to take a look at somebody else's site and see what you might comment about their on-page
It is
SEO?
Yes.
If you want your site looked at or discussed, any site, maybe you're building it, maybe it's your own site, would you put it in the chat so we can go take a look at it?
Or not. You can
Or
holler it
not?
out if you wanted.
People do need a second to type.
No, fair.
Can you talk about analytics and tell us, everybody uses analytics.
Yes.
What's the best thing to use them for? How do you use them?
That's a loaded question.
I know.
Analytics are pretty broad. If I'm doing keyword research, I use analytics from SEMrush. If I'm doing, let me see if I can grab a new window for you, show you. If I'm doing Search Console, that's a separate set of analytics. If I'm doing my business, that's they just logged, we just changed stuff. I'm so sorry. I can't show you that right now. But yeah, analytics are all in all going to change depending on your platform. In a website analytics package, I'm looking for things like users, engagement rate, conversions, events, whatever you call them, the value of those. And what I start to look for of those metrics, I break them down into dimensions like device. How many are mobile? How many are desktop, tablet? What is the breakdown? Where are my opportunities? For example, if you do that, you find your mobile conversion rate, your mobile users are high, but your conversion rate is low compared to your desktop where you have fewer users, but a higher conversion rate. Tells you people like to convert on desktop and you have a problem with your mobile site. You need to improve the conversion of your mobile site. If you're looking at keywords and you're going through something like a SEMrush package or your Google Search Console, you want to look at impressions and clicks, but you want to be very considerate about the times you're looking at. You can like look at periods over periods and make sure you're comparing like not a holiday period to a non-holiday period, things like that. In SEMrush, they'll give you backlink information for any given keyword. So it'll kind of give you the competitiveness to rank for that keyword, where you can say like, hey, I want to rank for plumbers in Winston-Salem, but that's a really competitive term because everybody, including Google, wants to rank for that. What is it going to take to do it versus maybe like toilet plumbers in Winston-Salem or water heater repair in Winston-Salem, like smaller, still competitive, but much less competitive than just the big broad term. So a lot of different analytics packages, not sure going to be able to answer.
One of the things I heard from an SEO person, we referred to we were working on a website for a law firm in Winston-Salem. They were a general law firm. They had two particular areas of interest and of getting found for. So I'm talking to this SEO person and she said, oh God, not another law firm. Do you know how hard they are to get SEO for? And it was like, if you tried to get, this is not that firm, but car accidents in Winston-Salem or damaged trucks or whatever, it was like $100 a keyword, a hit or something. It was just enormous. How do you get around that? Is there any way to compete without spending that kind of money?
Well, that's what SEO is for. It's actually what I mostly sell my services on, that most businesses are spending all of their visibility, getting all their visibility through paid search. I think to some extent, it's a needed evil. You're going to have to spend some money. To the second part about it's $100, whatever the cost is per word or per click or per impression, however you're bidding, I think is absolutely aligned to the amount of revenue you can get from that, right? So, I mean, I work with people who install HVAC systems. If you've ever had to replace your heating and air conditioning system, you know those are not cheap. It's an expensive thing. Our bidding on those words is not cheap. It's expensive. So when we can make the SEO work, when I can get the keywords in the right places, including on those paid landing pages, and bring their cost per click down, bring their quality scores up. Again, that weird authority thing. How many links do I have? How many people visit my site on a regular basis? How many people return to my site? How many conversions did my site make? all of that's information Google knows. They have one way or another, they know it, whether it's someone using a Google app, you have Google Analytics installed, you have Search Console, YouTube, they know this stuff. So I think there's a lot to considering how much you spend on paid search and how much is it worth it to your bottom line. And that's very unique to each individual person. But there's always a case for SEO because there's always an opportunity to make that number smaller. But I can't sit here and say, oh, that's a scary number or that's too much because I am not a paid search person and I don't know those numbers as well.
Okay, so Beth asked a question about the impact of AI is having or will have on SEO. Should now that all the AI stuff is at the top of search results, along with tons of irrelevant Reddit articles because Google bought Reddit, how can regular people who aren't spending a lot of money on that because they don't have a lot of money, how did they get their stuff to come up as a search engine result page?
Gotta be worthwhile. It's gotta be good. You can't just make the crap stuff. So I think there's the AI part of it. And I do agree that there's a lot of AI junk out there, but there's a lot that AI is doing to help things out. Like I, in fact, have just automated with AI almost my entire content creation process for my company just now. So I can tell you with human oversight, what used to take me about an hour and change to get done per page is now taking me about 8 to 10 minutes per page because of all this AI work. So I think there's a lot of value that AI can bring, but I think the question is really around like crap articles that get shoved out there in mass. That's always going to happen. So the only way around it is to make yours better and then get it out there. So you don't have to make, you do have to make content regularly. I think regularness is a key function, key factor in anything, whether it's social media posting or whatever. It's got to be relevant to the group you're talking to. So that's where that social media aspects. And this is where that omni-channel thing comes back in, where you're kind of listening to what your social media people, or you're watching your own social media channels, or your customer sales people are like, why does everybody keep asking me, do dishwasher pods clog drains? Like, why is this a thing now? This, you know, you're going to be able to find really valuable answers to content that you own because you're the subject matter expert. And the goal is get that written up and out there. Turn it into a video, turn it into a picture, share it on social networks, get people to link to it, share it with your local news people if it's actually relevant for like anything tech related these days, right? Like if you know something to save someone, I love this stuff that's coming out about the AI generated photos from different events and how to tell now, like the articles are how to tell it's not AI generated, right? So there's a lot I think you can bring to the table as an individual person. Very wise woman once told me, nobody knows it. Nobody knows that story the way you tell it. So you have to tell the story your way, get it out there, and then people will come after that. But you got to get it out there.
Well, I guess my question is more about stuff like if I now type in, oh gosh, how to do something. And maybe I've written a really great article on how to do that, but the summary is going to be somebody who's had an article out there for a long time, and Google's going to summarize it at the top. And so nobody's ever going to see my stuff.
Well, let's just assume, let's make that a little more specific. How to take care of a money tree plant, right? That's a how-to. That's a very niche topic, actually. I would say how to take care of plants is the general topic, which you're probably not going to rank for compared to like a home and garden. How to take care of money plants. If you are in the money plant era, you have something related to gardening in your brand, and your brand is all about gardening and perhaps Asian themed gardening, you have a chance because you're going to go out there and get those related blogs to post to your thing. You're going to go out talking at events. You're going to meet up at flower and garden groups. People are going to be able to say, or Google's going to be able to follow you. God, I know. Google's going to be able to follow you as you take your phone everywhere you go, and it's going to know what you're doing because you're Googling and searching and doing all these things. That is what Google's looking at. Google's looking at every single thing you do as in terms of creating that piece of content, changing to your personal identity on Google, and then doing more things. They know this about you. Will you rank for the very how to do something type term? Probably not. And it's going to be a lot of difficulty, and I wouldn't do it. But how to do something as a woman living in Winston-Salem, that's a lot. That's a little more niche. You're not going to get as much reach, but you're going to get the right reach, right? So it's a hard one to think about, where impressions are everything. Impressions is what it's at, but you can reduce your impressions in order to spend time building the right content and get those clicks, because that's the piece that you're talking about. If People just see you in the quick result. They might not even click you at all. So what's the use really? But if they click you, that's even better. So if you can narrow down, put your effort toward what's valuable to your bottom line, what's your solution mostly for, who is your main audience, I think that's how people, mom and pops, are going to be able to rank.
Okay,
So
we've got a,
I have a question.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, Sue. Hey,
Hey, Christy.
everybody. I want to add to this conversation with a question. So even if, let's say, that one page you wrote about, like Beth was talking about, and you added to Money Plant, let's say, does Money Plant grow in the zone of, Central North Carolina? So doesn't all of the articles, blogs, pages contribute to our overall authority? Even if we don't hit on that page, doesn't it contribute to our website authority?
Yes. Brilliant question. Yes, because your authority, again, made up thing, is your scope of authority. What are you a subject matter expert on? And I'll tell you now, Schema has a code for that. What do you know about? So if I am an SEO person, I sad to say it's not on my site right now, but I can write knows about all the different SEO things that I know about. So to your point, Christy, yes, Google's looking at the structure of your site. This is a very technical piece of website structure. Information architecture is very technical, driven by keywords. So you would be creating your whole website, right? You're not just going to have one random post about money plants. You're going to have probably an entire site or section dedicated to gardening, indoor gardening, outdoor gardening, Asian gardening, bonsai gardening, whatever it is that you do. You're going to have all of that. And Google's going to go, okay, well, this is definitely a site about plants. That's cool. And then it's going to say, oh, there's this new article on there about money plants and how to take care of them for them. Okay, I've got 1.3 million other articles about money plants and how to take care of them for. All right, but this one has a lot more. And all those other pages, people are going to, okay, and people are and people are filling out those forms. This is a good site. There's a lot of trust here. People are in it. They're engaging with it. They're converting on it. I see it on social media. I'm going to start to shove it in my search results every so often and see what happens. Oh, people are clicking on it when it's in the search results. Oh, brilliant. I'm going to start ranking it up the search results. And that's why SEO is slow and SEO is complicated and SEO takes time, because it's literally Google doing all of that in the matter of seconds, milliseconds, every time it has to do it and test it out, but constantly doing it. So yes, Christy, 100%, your site should be related. If you are going to have a site that is, I do planting and I'm in gardening, but that's actually a subset of my bigger SEO site, don't make it the same site. Don't put them together. Don't be like, hey, welcome to Bird Dog SEO and gardening, because that's just weird. Bird Dog SEO, and then maybe I have like gardening.birddog SEO or Bird Dog SEO/gardening, a whole separate section dedicated to that. That way I can make my site rank and I don't have to keep up with a million sites. However, those are two very different things. So I probably would make two separate sites if I was going to be an SEO and a gardener. I would separate them.
Thank you.
Cool. that
I hope someone's a gardener.
Okay, so the other day, Google got adjudicated to be a monopoly for search.
Yeah.
Do you think anything's going to happen there that's going to impact every single thing we do?
No. They'll sell some piece and then not be a monopoly anymore. If you noticed, everybody said, oh, AI is coming. Oh, AI is going to take away everything. Everybody's going to use AI instead of Google search. Google search just went up in the last year. We still use Google more than we did before. So Google's a monopoly, has been a monopoly since the day they started. They're a money-making marketing machine. They're going to do whatever it takes to keep themselves in business. And we are so, as a culture, ingrained in Google. I think I've said the phrase Googling too many times on this own webinar. So like, it's just impossible. It's just impossible not to get around it. But yeah, they're a monopoly and I hate it, but there's not much, they give me a job too. So I really can't hate it too much.
We've got 10 minutes. Hang on, Beth. We've got 10 minutes. If you haven't asked a question, this is your time. We're a friendly little group, so just unmute yourself and ask your question. Beth, go ahead.
So here's my question, Lauren. I've been redoing the Project Management Academy materials, and modernizing them. And so I'm asking ChatGPT a lot of questions, right?
Yeah.
And other AI tools too, but primarily ChatGPT. Have you noticed that it started to learn you yet? Because now I've noticed that it's learned me.
So I have a business account with my main agency I work with. So it's not in my name. It is not, nothing about it has my name attached to it. And at some point, I ask it a ton of questions too. I'm not a plumbing expert. I don't know things like this. So I ask it and I'm like, I have a plumbing business in Austin. I need you to write me content questions people ask when they're going to repipe their home. And it goes, great, Lauren, I have an idea for you. Lauren Polinsky's Plumbing Company. And I went, I stopped it and went, how do you know my name? And it goes, well, you must have told me. It's like, absolutely not. I've never told you. How do you know my name? I kept asking it. And I was like, it knows my name because of Google. It has to know my name because the only thing connection is Google. But yeah, it's creepy. And I think the other thing I've noticed about AI and using it, you have to go slow. You have to treat it very much like a child. You can't just say, write me the 12 steps for project management, or write me the steps it takes to do a project management for a website. You have to, sorry, I saw the chat there. You have to like start yourself off, go like, great. When it comes to website building, what are the biggest problems people have? Great. When it comes to doing this, okay, now with all of this that you know, what are the recommendations you give someone to not do this? Great. Now take all of that and make it a short step list for perfect. Now pretend that you are a person who can't understand anything about project management and has no time. Write it again. So what questions do you have, right? You have to keep triggering it. You can't just say, write me a list. You can't write me a blog. You can't do that. You got to get the keyword research. What do I want? What's the audience for this? You know, and it takes so much time. But I found a new tool. This is a huge shout out for someone who does not pay me money, but I highly believe in this. It's called AirOps, AIROPS.com, AirOps. And what it does is it automates workflows. And I'm not saying they're the only people out there that can do this, but automating the workflow, automating every single one of those conversations I just said you had to have with ChatGPT before you get to the thing you want, it automates that for you. These people are wonderful. They're East Coast based, so that's even better. I feel they're a very responsive team and it's very fast. They will integrate APIs to WordPress, directly being able to publish blog posts for you. It can integrate into, I think, different types of like project management systems as well. They have an open API, I believe, as well. You can get into.
6:51 p.m.
It is, and so beyond all of that, it's just a really great tool for all the things it can do. It's very new, so that we're working together actually to make new stuff with them. But right now they are literally automating my blog process, and that's literally something that took me an hour per page per blog post is now taking me about 10 minutes, and it's amazing.
Projects that used to take me 2 days to scope and estimate take 2 hours.
I love it. That's where I think AI is huge. I think AI, especially in the SEO world, is going to analyze stuff for me faster. It's going to build charts and graphs for me faster. It's going to explain things better. It's going to help me be better. It's not going to do the work for me. And that I never have a worry about.
That I love the way you just said that, Lauren, because that brings me to a question that I have where, so, you know, I don't know, things that have always been around like Wix and Squarespace that'll build a website based on questions that you answer. They're now being branded as AI. It's always been around, right? Like lots of automated things are now being branded as AI. And so my question is about, so a company builds a website on Wix and eventually they're going to come around and they need a really good professional. Like, okay, so then they hire us.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like AI is putting people in that position where, oh, we got to populate our blog and we can have all these articles. But if you don't have a strategy behind the writing, you're not going to be effective.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
I think I had a question or an inquiry, but if you want to elaborate on that now.
I will elaborate with the example I just got. I just picked up a client who has the same problem. They have a Shopify site and we were going through it. And I was like, have you ever thought about a WooCommerce site? Because I feel like you do a lot better. And they were like, yes, we just picked this up as a group, whatever. So they were like, we don't have any blogs. We have thousands of pages. We don't even know what we have. What do we even write about? We don't even know where to start, Lauren. And I was like, well, let's use keyword research. That's a clutch way to start somewhere. Starting with SEMrush, I wish I could show you, but in SEMrush, you can literally look up your core keyword and then it'll give you every question people ask. And again, if you take that to an AI tool and export it, take it out and say, analyze this for me and give me the topics that are here. Boom, you have like 5 blog posts, I'm sure, out of like 100 questions that people are asking. I'm sure it's repetitive. So I think if the question and the conversation was like, hey, people are on crap sites because they thought they were getting what they wanted out of this like fudgy AI sort of setup situation that doesn't do all the SEO keyword research. They're now stuck in a place where they cannot do more SEO research because Shopify and Wix and all these things are really locked down, and the plugin tools or the apps or whatever aren't very great. How do I convince them to come to my way? I would say make sure you have an SEO on site who can do some of that research real fast and say, great, I've audited their site quickly. I can tell you here are the topics of content that you should be creating from the services side or a product side over to a blog posting side. And that usually stimulates that conversation with the client and they go, oh, yeah, gifting ideas. That would be brilliant. Oh, yeah, there's actually like our audience is this type of person. And that starts churning out ideas and you actually end up in the flip where you have too many ideas and you don't know where to start.
On one of the recent sites that Lauren did the SEO for that I was putting together, she gives the site owner homework. You know, okay, we're going to start with this many blog posts. I need 6 more. And we're going to drop them once a week. And you need to keep, and the site owner's like, okay, you know, that's what I have to do. It was the idea that she had blog posts. I've got 20 blog posts. And Lauren's like, yeah, but none of them are like what you should have on your site. So she finally got the idea and did it. I watched it happen. I stayed out of the conversation, but I was getting copies of things. And it was really fascinating. It was, what are you trying to write about? What is your site about?
Yeah.
And so
fundamentally, that's what, yeah, my SEO is about. My SEO is not to sell your services. My SEO is not just to make your site show up more. My SEO is to get the person who's looking for your solution and products to find you. So that may be fewer impressions than you have today. It's definitely going to be more clicks than you had today. But mostly it's about making sure every channel is pushing out that same message, and it's technically correct and it's contextually correct. And then bring everybody back to your site. That's the #1 rule of the internet now.
Try and explain to a client that the number of visits you have on your website is not the most important piece of information.
It's really nice if you have revenue. That's an easy win. If you can say, look at the revenue went up. People went down, but the revenue went up. I like that one.
Lauren, I have a question. So you have a regular job that you work for a company as their SEO person, and then you also have Bird Dog SEO, right?
Yes.
So if someone wanted your services, like
absolutely,
like me, at some point, look, I got to get this stuff reworked and redesigned, and I've got a whole series on project planning with AI. And so. And I know it's so relevant. I need to get it out there. So once I get everything reorganized, I'm going to need that kind of help because I built my website on my own, not knowing any of this stuff many years ago, and it sucks. So yeah, I would never do this in front of a whole bunch of other people, but I do want you to look at my website.
What's your website, Beth?
Put the link in the chat.
No, I'm not doing it. Not in front of other people.
Okay.
No,
well, we only have 2 minutes anyway, but if you send it to me now, I'll at least be able to look at it, Beth, and then email you.
If you want
let me do my tweaking and then I'll send it to you.
Okay. Right. If you're on the call now and you want Lauren to look at the site real quickly, I can talk her into staying an extra 5 minutes if you want to put your site into the chat and she can click on it. Or
a lot of it's going to be conversation, right? Happy to look at your site, but I will have questions, so feel free. You'll have to talk too.
I would only do that.
Nobody has the courage.
It's very, I get it. But if you do want to, my website is there, so you can.
Okay, take a look at Christy's.
Christy put hers in.
Creative Force. I just want to tell you, Lauren bought the domain Bird Dog SEO in a restaurant in Washington, D.C. during WordCamp US last year, having breakfast with me and
Beth.
Nathan and Beth, and we were just talking, and she was Googling on her phone and said, what about this? And Nathan said, buy it. So that's how we got the domain.
Yeah. So Christy, first things first, you need to get your security updated. This is going to
Lauren,
show
do
up
you
for
have a dash between
It should be. I didn't give you the exact link. I just typed it in. I'm sorry.
creative-fort.net?
Creativeforce.net.
Excuse me, creative-force.
Yeah.
This is
it's
you?
Okay.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. It does look like your site's not secure.
I'm surprised. And I'm really surprised.
Yeah,
That's
check
weird.
with your host.
I will.
Okay, so
Oh,
you
it looks
just
like it
lost it.
expired today. Looks like it might have expired today.
Seriously, just today. Okay. Well, coincidence.
Christy,
Awesome.
call Brian. Call Brian.
Okay.
I know who's hosting her site.
So let's do this correctly. If we're going to do this quickly, we need to look at it like it's a cell phone.
Okay.
Oh God, I hate this. Let's do this the hard way. There we go. Okay. So, nice. It's very easy to read, quick to scan. Tough. I can't do any of the oh, we can do. Let's see. I've got some skills here. Let's do GT metrics GT metrics is the thing. I like to use GT metrics to look at page load times.
Okay.
Assuming I can't change that. But if you log in, you can make a free account with GT metrics. You can change where you're pulling from. In this case, you could pick something closer to you. But what it'll do, very similar to like a lighthouse score, is break down all of the I'm sorry. I didn't mean to laugh.
The
Because
SSL.
the SSL is down. I don't think any of my tools are going to work.
Bummer. Oh my gosh.
No. But I'll totally do this the hand manual way, and we look at things.
Well, I do want to say that I just had somebody convince me to move my domain to Cloudflare.
Oh, great.
And I don't understand it, but when we did it, it was like poof! It was so fast immediately.
Yes. Oh, I wish I could have shown you that.
Cloudflare is where every site should go.
Man, well, until every site goes there, right? Because isn't the whole thing about being crowded?
I'll let someone more technical than me answer that, but I can tell you that I moved a site onto Cloudflare, did nothing else but move it onto WordPress and onto Cloudflare. And the sales have been up almost 40% on that site since nothing else changed other than that. So
wow.
Yeah, there was a huge bump after Cloudflare.
Yeah, that Bird Dog runs through Cloudflare.
It feels fast.
It is.
So good job. Yeah.
I would think Beth just said that should be a future topic, and I don't understand it at all. And I would love to learn more about that.
That's an excellent future topic.
I pay for the iThemes training. It's not iThemes anymore, it's Solid WP, but and I go back to that training on the Cloudflare settings over and over and over again, because it is quite confusing. Cloudflare does a whole lot of stuff that is super helpful, but it's not for the average 67-year-old woman who doesn't want her brain is full. My brain is full.
As a beginner, you can, as a beginner, do nothing that Cloudflare does except run your site through Cloudflare. And what that will get you is it will eliminate a bunch of hacker spammers and bots. That's the fundamental thing. Then there's the 4 million things you could check little boxes for. And for example, we had a hair salon in Greensboro that was getting a bunch of crap from Russian or Eastern European bad people. And we ran it through Cloudflare and they were gone. It was just gone. And we didn't do anything else. This Cloudflare was new. I was new at Cloudflare. It's a few years ago. And now I've been through all the talks and the webinars and the things, and I hire a guy. Okay, put this site in Cloudflare. Here's what we need. I know what's there, but I don't know what to choose. So my server admin does that, and he gets it, sets it up. It is worth what that costs, but you can go to any of 50 different videos and it'll tell you how to do it. But it sounds like a good topic for us to do pretty soon. That sounds good. Thank you for the question, Christy, but it is complex. it's a headache inducing webinar to know everything Cloudflare will do.
Well, let's do it though.
Okay,
apps.
it is
Okay,
after
Lauren.
7 on the
Yeah.
East Coast. And if and Lauren does have a life, and I would like to thank you personally and professionally. Every time she talks, I raised her right. Boy, I am
Aw.
the mom. I am so proud
Oh,
of her.
turn down the proud
But
me.
she
Seriously, this
is-
is
I mean,
recorded.
come
You've got to
on.
remember,
Okay,
can hold you to
let me
these
stop
things.
the recording. Thank you very much.
that way you can lie about how much you love me.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
go ahead.
Yo, lie. Yeah, right. Okay, where the heck is recording? How do I stop the record? Oh, pause.
Go to the
stop
more
recording.
button.